Welcome to Insights into a Soul, the podcast that no one asked for. This is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. So grab a cup of coffee and relax, and join me as we gain insights into a soul. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Insights into a Soul. We are on episode 8. Got another solo episode for you. Last time we had Will on the podcast, one of my friends who helped me through my rough time, is helping me through. And today, just going to do a solo episode. But hey, first off, just want to say big shout out and thank you to everyone for the love and support. I got a message the other day that I want to read to you. I'm starting to get these messages more and more, and they really mean a lot to me. You know, I do this podcast as sort of a personal therapy. That's really where it started. And as I said before, I'm really starting to see the extent of its reach. Not the extent, but I'm starting to see the impact it's having and the reach that's having, you know, whether it's personal messages, text messages, or whatever, from different people that listen that I wouldn't even expect them to listen. I wouldn't even know that they listen. But they drop me little messages and lines to let me know that they are listening. And I got this one. It just says, "Hey Torn, wanted to thank you for sharing your story. Listening to your podcast has really helped me look at my past relationships and realizing that it's okay. Being hurt in the past, multiple times, may have caused some damage, but in the end, it has helped me grow into a better person. So again, thank you for being brave and able to open up." You're welcome for, you know, for whatever I do, for giving a voice to those that can't find their voice, or helping people put their thoughts into words and actions. Thank you for being brave and being strong, and, you know, being brave and sending me a message to let me know, for opening yourself up to talk and to share about your story. And, you know, I hope that everyone who listens to this podcast can find a little bit more out about themselves, gain some insights into their soul, and become a better person because of it. That's my hope. My hope is to help heal a hurting world. And we start with one person at a time, one soul at a time. And if we all help, we can all get there and make this place a better place to be, and make other people feel loved. So thank you for that. Thank you for all the messages. Thank you for the love. We are now officially on all podcasting platforms: Spreaker, iHeart, podcasting on Spotify, debating on putting up on YouTube. Exciting announcement today. The Insights into a Soul website is officially live. Still needs a little bit of work, but it's there. You can get links to the podcast platforms from there. You can get the latest news on all the podcasts. I'm going to start posting blogs. You know, whether it's a blog about the podcast that I recorded, or, you know, some of my thoughts that I have, because I like to journal. I like to write. And I'm going to start putting some of those online for people to read and to see. Because on this podcast, we value transparency and honesty. And I want to share, you know, because I can't always sit down and record a full episode, but I can spend 5-10 minutes writing down my thoughts and my daily journal, and I can post that for you, and hopefully it could help you in some way. So yeah, insightsintoasoul.com is live, is under construction, but I think I'm eventually going to offer a newsletter as well, so where you can get weekly insights delivered to your inbox. But that's all down the road. We're working on things. Lots of stuff planned. And yeah, so go check it out. Share it. Share the love. Spread the love around. So today, like I said, solo episode. Got something kind of heavy to talk about. Something that's really been on my mind and heart, and just been milling and just working through in my mind over the past couple weeks. As you know, went through a period of a lot of rough nights and dreams and stuff like that. But let's just start out with this. So, you know, one of my friends going through a similar situation to me, separation after a long time being married, sends me a text today and goes, "I'm so pathetic. I'm debating buying a Groupon for flowers, LOL, to send to myself on Valentine's Day. Hashtag love yourself. And at first I was like, oh, haha, you're, being kind of down on yourself. And I just sent this message back. I was like, it hit me. Love yourself. Love yourself. Hashtag love yourself. This is so important. Because if you don't personally love and value yourself, who will? We can't live our lives waiting and wanting the love and approval of others. I think that's what gets us into so much trouble in so many bad situations, is that we have this longing to be loved by someone, to be accepted, and we're always going to spend our life waiting for flowers that might never come. And so, we've got to start off with ourselves. We got to start with ourselves first so that we can be the best versions of ourselves. Because how can you ever expect to have a healthy relationship if you don't love and value yourself? How could you love and value someone else if you're not taking care of yourself? Whether, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, health and fitness, it's important. How can I give advice to someone else? How can I help people through their issues if I'm not looking inwardly and helping myself? And loving myself first, because I can give you the words, but then if you look at me and you see that I'm not doing I'm not practicing what I'm preaching, then my words are empty words. My words are pointless and useless. And hopefully, my life is an example of practicing what I preach. I believe everything that I say on this podcast and the advice I give to people, and I'm willing to follow it first and foremost before I try to give it to somebody else. So anyway, that's the first thing. We got to be the best versions of ourselves. So hashtag love yourself. Secondly, we need to love ourselves so that we can genuinely love others and show them what real unsolicited love looks like. This is an interesting thing to me. Unsolicited love. We long for affection, but there's some of us who long to give affection. And it's easy to give love or to give yourself or to give to someone when they're wanting it, when they're either trying to buy your love with gifts and stuff, or they just say what they want you to hear, what you need to hear to get that precious time with you, or emotions or connections or physical connection even. But if you truly love yourself, you're not going to be stuck in this pattern of loving someone just because they're giving you the right words or doing the right things. You're going to love them for who they are. And again, if you get in a relationship with someone who's practicing self-love and they're loving themselves and you're loving yourself, how great would that be? Are there going to be issues? Are there going to be problems? Absolutely. You're always going to have little things that you disagree on or little little points of contention, but you don't have that weight of trying to be something for someone and hoping that it's the right thing and hoping that you're doing a good enough job. And same goes for them. They're not going to have that whole thing of, trying to be something for you. And then you don't have this whole thing of worrying if you're doing the right thing, and it's easier to talk about it too. When you love yourself, when you're healthy emotionally and mentally, it's so much easier to talk about things with your significant other. And so I went on to say, there's nothing sad about it. You long to love yourself. You long to be loved. You know that there is a strong and loving person inside of you. You've lived long enough trying to love someone else and longing for their love back. The beauty of it is that you don't need to love, or the beauty of it is that you don't need the love and approval of others to love yourself first. And I said that, and I was like, oh man, I was like, this hit me. This makes so much sense to me. And, I thought it was a great opener for my podcast because, again, everything that we do, healing begins with you. Healing doesn't begin with someone else, because someone else can come to you and say they're sorry for something, but unless you choose to accept that, unless you choose to listen to them, you've got to make that decision inside of yourself to be open and receptive. And then the healing can begin if someone else comes to you and apologizes. And then if you need to go to someone else and apologize or to mend that, again, healing begins with you. So we sit around sometimes feeling like we've been wronged, and maybe we have been, but we get in this rut of, well, they got to come to me. They got to come to me to fix this. Sometimes you need to go to them to fix it. And how can you do that if you don't love yourself, if you don't know yourself, if you don't understand yourself, if you don't value yourself? You've got to value and love yourself. So hashtag love yourself. That's my big theme today. And it actually plays right into what I wanted to talk about, something I've been dealing with and working through. You know, you guys know my story, so we're not going to go into that. So the other night, though, I was texting with my ex, and it was just a really good conversation. It was kind of surreal, and we were talking, and you know, she apologized for some of the things that happened in the past. Some of the things that she did, because she's been going to therapy, which is great. She's, you know, I'm really seeing the healing happen inside of her and her working through her own stuff. And so we just had a conversation back and forth, just chatting about stuff. And, you know, I'm not going to read you the text message or anything, but I just, you know, I said to her, because we talked through some stuff and it's been good. I just said, you know, it's kind of sad to me. Oh, let me look it up here. Hold on. So, okay, we're talking about her therapy, and she's just saying how she's gotten control of a lot of things that she was letting control her, which is huge. It's great that healing's happening, and I'm genuinely glad to hear that. And you know, I was telling her how overall I feel like a different person since we've separated. And, you know, I just told her that I was glad that she's feeling better and it's seeing new life. And it's interesting how as time goes on, you know, we see new things. You know, we see how this decision that we had made, because we did make the decision together, we see how this decision had brought out the good stuff in each of us and that we're both personally improving. And she, you know, goes on to say, you know, sadly, it was the right path. We were creating a toxic environment, and we were both contributing to it. And, you know, I was thinking about it, and I don't think we could have gotten there if we had stayed together. There was too much past, too much history, too much hurt. And, you know, sometimes for healing to happen, true healing, you got to let go. You know, I talked about this the other podcast, you know, saying goodbye. You have to say goodbye to some things of the past and some parts of you. And, you know, you have to let go. And, you know, we can forgive and we can say goodbye. But the next phase of that is learning to let go. You know, and she went on to just apologize for some things, and I did as well, and we talked through some stuff, and, you know, we know that we needed the change, and, it hurts. It still hurts. I'm going to be honest. I was going through some papers last night, cleaning up the house. You know, there's still stuff of hers here. I'm still going through trying to organize, and I was looking for some papers, and I found cards from her and notes she had written to me, because when I proposed years ago, I set it up. We lived in Palm Beach at the time, West Palm Beach, Florida, and on the Intercoastal Waterway, there's this giant tree with this little patch of land, a little beach, a little bit of grass near the Flagler Museum. Beautiful, beautiful place. And I had staged it to look like a message in a bottle had washed up in that location. And so we go out to dinner and everything, and then we go to our favorite spot. We're like, let's hang out, let's walk around. And so, you know, one of my best friends had gone right before, like we were communicating. And so he put the bottle and made it look like it had washed up there and covered it with sand and everything. And so we're just walking along, and I'm like, oh, look, there's a message in a bottle. And she's like, how cool is this? And, you know, she picks it up and reads it, and that's where my proposal was. And so as she read that, I got down on one knee, proposed. It was beautiful, lovely, romantic. Yes, I am a hopeless romantic. Rom-coms are some of my favorite things. And she said yes, obviously. And so we've had that bottle throughout the years, and there's been times when she writes me messages and she puts them in the bottle for our anniversaries. And that's what I found. I found one of the notes that she had written, and it hurt. It hurt like hell, because, she talks about, even in the tough times, she still sees the good in the light. And that she gets so excited and happy to see our future together and what it can be and could be and will be. And so, I read it, and as soon as I picked it up and opened it, I knew exactly what it was. And I was like, crap, here we go. Here come the feels. Because we can't live our lives pretending that everything's okay. Because everybody has issues. Everybody has problems, right? Everybody's a mess. Nobody's got it all together. And I have this little app that gives me daily inspirations and daily thoughts. And the other day it was talking about the power of an honest mess. And just being honest about things. Being honest that, not everything's okay. Doesn't mean everything's bad. Doesn't mean life is bad. But there are things that aren't okay. And that's fine. That's okay. And I think there's strength in transparency, in honesty, and just being a mess. There's times in our lives when we're going to be a mess, and we're not going to know if it's going to get better. My God, we hope that it gets better. We pray that it gets better. We do everything we can. We read the motivational quotes, the kittens on the posters, sending memes and all that to hope for the best. And sometimes it gets to a point where you can't even hope for the best. And I understand that. I've been there. I've been to that point of despair. Even when I was married, there were times when I would struggle with severe depression, and I would wonder if the pain would ever go away, or the sadness, and I would wonder if the world was better off without me. And no, the answer is no, because you have value, you have purpose. I don't care who you are. There's value and there's purpose. There's always value and purpose. And, right now, it might not make sense. Things might not make sense. And that's okay. And sometimes you get sick of hearing, I know I get sick of hearing it, well, this, and it's going to get better, and this and that. Yeah, great, we hear it all the time. It's the common thing that you tell someone is, it's going to get better, don't worry. Don't worry, things will get better. Sure, it's easy to say when you're not in the moment. We all know that. But the reality is, I've been there. I've been to the darkness. I've been to the edge. And it does get better. Obviously, the support of friends and people help. But you've got to love yourself. You've got to love yourself enough to say, I'm a mess, and that's okay. I'm a mess, but I'm still beautiful. I'm still lovable. Because again, we've got to love ourselves before we can move on to fix anything. And before we can hope to fix and help others. And this app that I use goes on to say, talking about the cracks. Actually, let me pull up the quote here. But it talks about the cracks in me, in my story. And it really hit me, it's, that's not it. That's the wrong one. So, don't be afraid to let your cracks show. Your cracks are what make you irresistible. And I thought about this for a while. I thought about this podcast and the influence and the impact that it's having. And it's my honesty and my genuineness, I believe, that are helping people find that strength and that hope and finding the power to fight on, to live, to move on. And so, a couple episodes ago, we learned to say goodbye, saying goodbye to things in the past, things that are no longer good for us or that just aren't there anymore. Saying goodbye to a marriage that might not necessarily be beyond salvaging, but just isn't working anymore. And that's okay. We don't need to salvage things necessarily, because then it's just parts of things that we're trying to make work, and we're duct taping all that crap together and trying to figure stuff out. We need to repair, to rebuild, and to start new sometimes. And that's what I've had to do, is start fresh and start new. I don't know what my future looks like, but it's you say goodbye, and then the next step comes. You got to learn to let go, because you can say goodbye, and I said goodbye. But if you continue to hang on to things, to hang on to hope that maybe they'll come back, maybe they'll change, and they go to therapy and they become a better person, they're going to come back to you. They're going to come back and life will be great. No, get real. It might happen. But let's be honest. It doesn't always happen that way. People change, people grow, people become different. And sometimes you have to let them go. You have to let that relationship go. And that's not just saying, I'm done with it. That's not just saying goodbye. That's actually letting go. It's always going to be there. It's a part of your life. It's a story. It's a chapter in your book. But you got to let go. You got to clean up the mess. You got to let go of it. And this is my challenge to you. This is my challenge to you this week. And this is a hard truth. Look at a relationship you're in. I think there's some of you out there that are in a relationship. I've seen this firsthand. Some of you that are in relationships for the sake of being in a relationship, because you can't live without someone in your life. You feel like you can't go on unless you have someone in your bed with you, or you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever they are. And you continually jump from relationship into relationship. You screw one up, or they screw it up, whatever, it doesn't work. And then you break up, and then within a month or so, you're in another relationship. And you're throwing around terms like you love each other and the best thing that's ever happened. Now, they might be the best thing that's ever happened to you, but come on, slow it down a little bit. Let's be careful giving our hearts completely, because that's the problem, I think, is that we give our hearts so quickly nowadays to someone else. And that person doesn't know how to take care of it. You got to learn how to take care of someone's heart. You can't just get it and know what to do. It's like a baby or a puppy or a kitten. Like, it takes time to learn how to care for something, care for someone else, a living being, a person that's complex with emotions and baggage and history, and learning what triggers them. Hey, they had this happen in their past relationship. You got to learn those things. You got to learn how to navigate those things, how to be sensitive to those things, and how to help them from not falling in the cycles of the past, because we fall so easily into cycles, into situations, repetitive behaviors, patterns, habits. And it's okay to not have someone. It's okay. And that's kind of where I'm at. It's going on 5 months or so. Feels like a lot longer. But I don't know what my future looks like. And that's okay. I don't have to have it figured out right now. I don't know if I ever want to fall in love again. Because love hurts. You fall out of love, it hurts. Hurts really bad. And this was something I told her. I think I've said it on the podcast before, and I've written about it, but I've never told her this. And the other night I told her, because we were talking about that, what the future looks like. And she's like, well, I hope if you find someone else, that they'll be a good fit for you, and that you'll, find happiness. And I'm finding happiness in myself and by myself, and that's great. But I told her, if I never find love again, I think I'm okay with that. Because she showed me what true love looked like. She showed me what it meant to love someone regardless of their flaws, of their cracks, of their imperfections, of their mess. She loved me when I wasn't lovable, when I wasn't at my best. When I look back and I realize I came into this marriage, I wasn't loving myself. I hated myself. I didn't like who I was becoming, the version of myself that I was. And I carried that toxicity into our relationship, and it just continued to seep in. And she realizes too, for the same thing for her, she wasn't happy with herself fully. There were parts of her that she wanted to work on. And so I told her though, but through 13 years, hey, if I've never experienced love again, thank you, because you've shown me what true love looks like. And I thanked her for it, and I genuinely meant it, because she showed me what true love can look like, and that it is possible, and that you can love someone regardless of whatever issues or character flaws they may have. She loved me when I was unlovable. She loved me when I didn't love myself. She kept me going through hard times, and through those times when I was in the darkness and I didn't want to come out. She helped pull me out. She gave me hope when my girls give me hope, give me a future, give me life. Obviously, it goes along with my relationship with God and all that. But they're a part of that. They're all a part of that fabric, that story. So I challenge you to hashtag love yourself, to let go of relationships or jobs or whatever it is, friendships that are not good for you, that are just dragging you down, that are toxic, that are keeping you from loving yourself. And I challenge you not to rush into a relationship until you love yourself, until you're okay with who you are, and you're okay bringing that mess into a relationship. And obviously it'll be a more collected mess, but the baggage is there. There's always the stuff in the past. But love yourself. And loving ourselves, we can love others. And in loving others, we can help give others the hope they need to fight on and the strength they need to come out of their darkness, to come down from their ledge. Don't ever think that you can't make a difference. Your story can change someone's life. And at the end of the day, if we can change one person's life, then it's all been worth it. If one person finds happiness, feels loved, then it's all worth it. And if we do that, hopefully they'll do that, and they'll replicate that, and they'll continue to replicate out. And we'll continue to make this world a better place to live in. We'll continue to be better people. So yeah, those are my thoughts for the day. Hashtag love yourself, let go, move on, and be a badass. I mean, do it. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. As I said, insightsintoasoul.com is live. It's being worked on. I got some cool ideas and some plans. Thank you all for the topic suggestions. We'll be getting to those as time moves on. Got some more guests lined up, some recordings to do, bringing some people on. I will be in Guatemala this week. I actually leave tomorrow at the time of recording this podcast. And I'll be there filming and doing photography and some other stuff. So I'm sure I'll have some awesome stories to share with you all as I go down and cover the vision trip that a team from my company and some other people are doing. Excited because I'm going to go see some life change firsthand. And I'm excited for that. So thanks. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the podcast. As I said, we're now on all platforms. Tell your friends. If you could also please do me a favor, and on whatever podcasting platform you listen to, make sure you go and at least give it 5 stars. If you can't, leave a comment. That's cool. If you want to leave a comment, great. They encourage me. They're helpful. They're exciting. And I appreciate all of them. And the text messages and everything have been great. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com. We'll be getting a proper email here soon as well. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, go out there and love yourself. See you guys. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Insights into a Soul. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe and to share it with your friends. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Insights into a Soul, on Instagram @TornH, and if you have suggestions for future episodes or topics, or if you'd like to be on the podcast, contact us, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com.